Here now to weigh in on the state of our union and what we can expect from feeble old Joe tonight, New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew. Jeff, nice to see you again. So much to talk to you about that's happening in our nation's capital, but of course we're going to begin with the State of the Union, which is coming soon tonight. We're hearing from sources. I haven't seen the speech yet. Usually they drop it early so we can see what's going to be said. Plus, I kind of wanted it so I could do the whole and rip it up thing like Nancy did. No, just kidding. I wouldn't do that. But we're hearing it's only going to be maybe 40 to 50 minutes. Usually these things go more than an hour, but I would imagine this is by design to keep Joe up on that stage the minimum amount of time possible so he doesn't screw up too bad. What are you hearing?
No, I think exactly right. I mean, I think they've given him as much rest as they possibly can. Obviously, he's getting his vitamin B12 shots or whatever else they're giving and doing. This is an important night for him. And I think he's going to do the best that he can do tonight. I mean, this is going to be his apex. This will be his top point. But, you know, even if he appears well, it's what he's going to talk about. He's going to try to convince Americans that Bidenomics is working. He's going to try to convince Americans that our foreign policy is good. He's going to try to convince Americans that there's nothing unusual at the border. It was always this way. And he's going to try to convince Americans that he has the answers, that our cities aren't decaying, that, you know, our country is strong, that our military is what it should be. You know, we have a record low number of people applying to get into all the branches of the military. It's symptomatic of what's going on. It's counterintuitive. What he's going to try to say tonight, people are going to say, where do you live, Joe? This is not where I live. This isn't my town, my state. I think it's not going to go over, but he's going to give it everything he's got. And he's going to blame Republicans for everything.
Thank you.
He's going to blame the border on Republicans.
Right.
He's going to blame Ukraine on Republicans. He's going to blame what's happening across the board on Republicans, that they're not doing their job and they aren't doing the right thing. And I don't think that's going to sell either.
Yeah, that's you read my mind. That was going to be my next follow-up question is how many times I'm thinking of, even though I'm going to be working tonight, I was thinking about having a drinking game. How many times Joe Biden blames Republicans for how bad the Republic is and take a shot every time he says Republicans or Trump or MAGA? Because it'll probably be dozens. Although maybe, do you think he'll tone the rhetoric down for a State of the Union versus what he does when he does a White House, which he barely ever does, but comments to the press when he's in the White House or when he's on the campaign trail? He's been doing it the last few months, solely pointing the finger directly at you guys, saying, you're the reason the border is the way it is. You're going to be the reason we have to put boots on the ground in Ukraine because you won't send any more money. Do you think it'll be that direct? Or because it is a State of the Union and you all are present tonight so you can boo him and yell at him, do you think he'll tone that rhetoric down? Yes or no?
My guess is that he will not turn the rhetoric down, that it will be up. And I'll tell you why. He's really got to make his case tonight, and he's got to make it in a strong way. And they're going to do everything they can. They are already doing that, trying to confuse the American public. Wait a minute, it's the Republicans' fault. And he's going to use the term, I believe, we'll see if I'm right, MAGA Republican. He's particularly going to try to focus on that.
Good point.
You'll always hear him say MAGA Republicans this, MAGA Republicans that. So they're trying to confuse the issues. You just have to fact check this stuff. You know, I debate all the time in my Judiciary Committee, and they're constantly, the other side says, well, let's really check the facts. They have an alternative universe, an alternate set of facts that aren't just the truth. But again, American people can feel it, they can see it, they can hear it, they know it intuitively. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to sell, but we're going to find out. He's going to give it his level best. Believe me, he's been practicing this with his handlers for weeks.
Yeah,
and
great point. So glad you brought, and he's got the help of the mainstream media too, Jeff. I mean, they cover for him. You know, this last week with the economy and the border tying for the #1 issue in all the exit polls, right? You had mainstream media mouthpieces, legacy news anchors, legacy talk show hosts sticking up for Joe and saying that Bidenomics is working and that the American people just don't understand that it's working just because, you know, things cost more. That's why they're upset. But otherwise, the economy's great. And then the same with the border. Well, if Republicans would just vote that Senate bill through, it would fix all this. Case in point, I want to run this soundbite because I can't believe this piece of trash said this stuff. You know Joe Scarborough because he used to be a Republican member of Congress, but now he's been a talk show host on MSNBC for years. Listen to him carrying the water for Joe Biden and lying about his mental capacity. This one blew me away.
I've said it for years now. He's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually, analytically. Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
Are you absolutely kidding me? And Joe, F you for lying. Jeff, your thoughts on the mainstream media, that guy right there in particular, covering for Joe Biden and the disaster that he has turned our republic into in just 3 short years.
First of all, Joe's fallen so far, but I mean, nobody can say that with a straight face. There are others, even on the left, that are saying, well, he may be older and and it isn't age, by the way, it's cognitive ability. It has nothing to do with the number of years.
Great point.
President Trump is doing better, stronger. He really is.
Look at Clint Eastwood at 93. That guy could dance circles around Joe Biden mentally. He's 93.
Exactly.
So it's not age, it's cognitive skill.
God help us, it happens to all of us at different times in our life, but it's happened to him at this age. And even liberal Republicans, even those on the left, when you talk to them privately, they are worried. Do they wish it was a different candidate? But it's too late for that. Ostensibly, they can't do it. But the point is, it's just not true. And if it was anybody else, if it was certainly a Republican, every gaffe that most Americans don't see, every mistake, every mumble, every fall would absolutely be broadcast over and over and over again. So he's at 38% or whatever the hell it is, depending on what poll it is. The reality is, if they showed everything he did, everything he said, he would be at the 20%, 10%. I always wonder who the 40% are that are supporting him, for God's sake.
Yeah, the mainstream media is guilty of election interference, just like they were in 2020 when they said the laptop was fake, when the FBI had already authorized it and said, or authenticated it rather. This network was reporting in June or July of 2020 that the laptop was real, and we were called Russian disinformation agents. I mean, it's freaking insane, Jeff. A couple minutes left with you. I want to do kind of a rapid thing. A couple headlines coming from the swamp and get your reaction to them now that we covered the BS we're going to hear in less than an hour from Joe Biden. The House passed the Laken-Riley Act. Thank goodness. Good on you guys, Jeff. And I got to say, I'm amazed here. 37 Democrats voted with you guys. Describe what this bill will do if it passes the Senate and if the president would sign it into law.
And we're going to have some other bills. One of them is even mine. They're detain and deport bills. Essentially, first of all, you shouldn't even need these bills, and it shouldn't be just after you've committed a horrific act or even a minor act. But basically, this says when you've broken the law once, you're detained, and you can go through the process, but you're going to be immediately deported. And that's what should be done. So many of these crimes, these murders, these rapes, almost all of them, it's their second, third, or fourth offense, and these individuals, these illegals, have been let out of prison or not even put in prison, and they just commit another crime. That's got to stop.
Yep. Well, good on you guys for passing it. Now we'll wait and see what the Democrats in the Senate will do if they'll pass it. Another one, speaking of the Senate. How about Bob Menendez? There's now almost a dozen or 10, I don't know how many more charges thrown at this guy. If everybody forgot, this is the Democrat senator who his scandal came out the same time the Republican Congressman George Santos' scandal came out, in which Republicans and Dems teamed up and kicked George out of Congress. This guy's got 50 more charges than George ever did. I mean, he had money sewn in suits and gold bars and Mercedes-Benz and all this, and he's still defiant, saying, I'm not stepping down, I did nothing wrong. Can we get rid of this guy or what, Jeff?
Well, they're going to get rid of him, but they're going to replace him with somebody, and we'll have to see who it is, who's equally bad in different ways and probably, believe it or not, even more left. They're going to get rid of him because the Democrats don't like him. As bad as he was and as crooked as he was ardently anti-communist, and he was somebody that in some positions, especially foreign affairs, was a little bit more moderate. I think you're going to see, hopefully we get a Republican senator in New Jersey and really change the tide and do something different. If we don't, and we get a Democrat senator in there, I think he will even be more, he or she will be more left than even Bob Menendez.
Well, it's your home state. I hope you push for it.
The Senate, I'll do everything I can. The Senate should be asking Bob to leave.
Yes,
they should be doing that.
Only a few seconds left. Ron DeSantis called out Nikki Haley for refusing to follow the pledge that all Republican candidates signed by backing whoever the nominee would be. Ron came out immediately and did it. Vivek did it. Nikki still has not backed Trump, even though she signed that pledge. 10 seconds. What do you say to Nikki Haley, Jeff?
10 seconds. I say do it. If you sign a simple pledge and you won't even abide by that, and she wasn't the only one, then what in God's sake could we trust you for? I mean, you signed a pledge in front of the American people and the media that you would support whomever won. And then you say, oh, I changed my mind. I'm not going to do that. What the hell good is the pledge?
There you go. Jeff Van Drew representing the 2nd District there in Jersey. Thank you, Congressman. Take care.
Good to be with you.
Yep.